Donald Trump weighs in on the DC helicopter plane collision, and you knew he was going to say it was because of DEI. Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. So, what we had today was Donald Trump with dozens of bodies still in the water, literally a mile away, callously using the collision of a military helicopter and commercial airliner that killed 67 people to spew racist, homophobic, and misogynistic lies about DEI, and he stopped just short of calling former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg a Nancy boy. Here's a quote. You know how badly everything has been run since he's run the Department of Transportation, said Trump, who in his senility appeared in his Thursday presser on the air tragedy to just forget that Buttigieg is no longer the top guy of the Department of Transportation. More on Buttigieg from Trump. He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground. He's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of, and he used the word for what I'm about to say, BS. YouTube won't let me get away with that, but he can say this on national TV. It was not bleeped out. The Department of Transportation, Trump said, is a government agency charged with regulating civil aviation while he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. Again, Buttigieg does not run the Department of Transportation. That would be a random DE white guy named Sean Duffy, who was literally picked by Trump for this job in his cabinet because Duffy was once a contestant on The Real World. I'm not making that up. I wish I was. That's why he's in the cabinet. That best and brightest appointment led to us getting this gem from Sean Duffy at a late night presser on the DC disaster, which killed 67 people. Obviously, it is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that. Oh, dear Lord. Trump, after giving a similarly dense dissertation on how a helicopter could have just flown over the plane, he actually went into great detail. It could have flown over, it could have flown under, it could have gone one side or the other. He literally explained that the plane and helicopter wouldn't have collided if just for the fact that they collided. He clumsily then read from a text on from an FAA policy put into effect in 2013 that he seems to think is a smoking gun as to how the military helicopter and the plane ended up colliding. Quote, targeted disability. I wish I could do his voice. I can't. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. They include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. Now, the text is real, but as I noted, it's been in effect since 2013, so Trump had 4 years to get it off the books and didn't because he had a term in the White House. And there's good reason behind that, actually. The FAA, according to a statement on the 12-year-old policy, noted that it, quote, employs tens of thousands of people for a wide range of positions, from administrative roles to oversight and execution of critical safety functions. Continuing the quote from the FAA, like many large employers, the agency proactively seeks qualified candidates from as many sources as possible, all of whom must meet rigorous qualifications that, of course, will vary by position. Okay, that's important. Because the moron in chief seems to think that the FAA, at Buttigieg's directive apparently, had a partially paralyzed non-binary dwarf with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities and without a left foot and missing several fingertips in the tower at Reagan last night, and that's why the chopper and plane collided. What's going on here, dude? And I left the part out about the controller maybe not being white. We don't know, but he's making that assumption. Trump lobbed the claim that there was a group within the FAA that had, quote, determined the workforce was too white. They actually came out, he said, with a directive saying it's too white. But the fact is, no, they didn't. What he's citing there is a lawsuit filed by a crackpot former air traffic controller way back in 2018 during Trump's administration, who was invited to talk about his nonsense without pushback by former Fox News blowhole Tucker Carlson. And the guy claimed in the interview that the FAA was too white. So that's where Trump gets this. They said that the FAA is too white, and then they put this directive in place that was actually in place during his administration. He never got rid of it. This lawsuit, by the way, it apparently didn't get too far. I Googled the heck out of this thing, could not find any evidence of dispensation. It apparently didn't get beyond the it was filed stage. Now, whoever put this in front of Trump, because don't give the guy credit. He doesn't put this stuff in front of himself. He reads what his handlers put in front of him. Okay, they assume that people who hear the sound bites from his Orwellian rant on Fox News later today won't bother to do their own research to make sure they're not being lied to because they like being lied to. And if it doesn't involve Joe Rogan, RFK Jr., or Aaron Rodgers bloviating about Fauci needing to go to jail because of vaccines and mass mandates, they just don't care. Now, maybe Buttigieg, who isn't afraid to go on Fox News to engage the other side on its own playing field, he can get on there and say what he had to say on Twitter after the Trump presser. This quote from Buttigieg. President Trump now oversees the military and the FAA. One of his first acts was to fire and suspend some of the key personnel who helped keep our skies safe. Time for the president to show actual leadership and explain what he will do to prevent this from happening again. So, wait, what you're saying here, Pete, is that it was a Trump executive order that might have had something to do with how this collision happened? The hell you say?